dig out my agenda here again. All right, discuss vote on budget to be presented to Finance Committee. I think deep down in your folder here, you'll find what we discussed at the meeting the other night. I guess what I would like to propose is that we deal with the revenue as we discussed, and then we can quickly go through the departments, and with the understanding that this, as we discussed last week, this is to move it to the Finance Committee level. Doesn't nail it down to a warrant, doesn't those kind of things. We'll let the Finance Committee go through their issues, meet, reconvene with them, and then we will have a subsequent vote, which we will identify what will be on the warrant. Okay?
After a public hearing.
That's right.
So, well, I think we, yeah, John, I think we just need to sort out the public hearing. It's typically after we have the warrant established, right? So, that being said, I think
John and I are,
Yeah, I mean,
Working
I
at each
think,
other.
I think that's pretty irritating to people going to a public hearing to see it's fait accompli, and what are we doing here? I think, in a way, what I'd like to do is see it just comes up maybe a week before the final vote of the Board of Selectmen to put it on the warrant. But this is the warrant as it stands right now, a public hearing, and there can be a change.
Yep.
well, that's how it is.
Well, we're talking
But the
talking about
change-
having the public
Public
hearing
hearing,
after
oh.
we voted on it. For the-
well, that's fine.
vote
I
warrant.
mean, we can
I think the
certainly,
public hearing ought to come before
we
we
can
vote.
certainly do that. I don't have any objection to that. I think ultimately it's the selectmen's decision of what the warrant looks like as it's presented to the public at town meeting, so. That being said, what we're talking about is a total revenue stream, and I'll try to go through the specifics here, all right? The bottom line number is $3,465,650, and that would be derived from $1,411,287 from taxation, $336,345 from department revenues, $980,000 from excise tax, $150,000 for miscellaneous fees, including the cable TV franchise, $2,500 from transfer from the cemetery fund, zero surplus, $138,000 even from a transfer from the transfer station capital funding account, $175,000 from the rescue billing fees, $75,000, which is expected from the state URIP road grant, $60,000 from the rescue billing fund. I'll take that back, $24,068 from that fund, not 60. $94,000 from the rescue equipment fund, which would go towards the capital leases, and $79,312 from the ambulance subscription fund. And that money would be, we won't get into the, what fund funds what department at this point. But the bottom line is $3,465,650, which is, just for anybody that is keeping track, $541,027 below what the budget's requested as a flat funding, with there's some increases in the flat funding for insurances and those kind of things. So net, it's about $470-some-odd-thousand less than what was raised last year at town meeting, which would be a flat funded, from a tax rate perspective, flat funded for this year.
'Cause,
'Cause, year. So, 'cause, 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 'cause I guess my suggestion is that we deal with that, move that as the revenue stream to the Finance Committee as a number. So if someone would want to make that motion,
I will make the motion that the number that you gave here, that we set that forward to the Finance Committee. That is the $3,465,650.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor? All right, that's what their target of revenues is, right? Not sure how quite to go through this without flipping around all kinds of papers, but if I look at general government, which takes in a whole myriad of stuff on page 1 of our sheet here, down to including, I don't know if she has it summed up. I guess it through, up to and not including general assistance. The number that we had struck was $533,100. Down from last year's approved number of 538, so basically about $5,000 less. General assistance at $72,000. Town clerk, $49,816. Tax collector, $41,251. Treasurer, $37,238. Office workers, and these numbers all include Medicaid and FICA, insurance, and those kind of things. 160,000. That's all. I'm sorry. That's all the insurances. 160,858. Municipal buildings, 59,000 flat. Tax assessor's office, 67,116. Code enforcement office, 62,870. I guess that is that plus fee. No, the fees are included in that now, right?
Yeah,
No zoning map revisions this year. The next category is the library at 66,653. Parks and Recreation at 167,258, which includes the fees. Planning Board at 26,048, which includes the fees. The fees are included in that number. Public Safety, 467,852. Ross Connor is still separate at 6,634. I thought you were going to include that in your budget there, Matt, this year.
They never give us that.
Oh. Hydrant rental, 21,000. I'm not sure that, do we have anything from the Water District that says that's what it is? Public Safety EMS, 64,400. Engine 1, this is all the capital stuff, right? Engine 1, scuba, ladder, tanker, truck, squad, ambulance 1, defibs, and ambulance 2, $123,950. Transfer station, stump dump and refuge area, $587,000 and $587,017. Public Works Department, which includes all the Fred's work and whatnot, plus the snow plowing contracts. I'll take that back, it doesn't include the snow plowing contracts that we pulled out separately. Was $359,150. We added $120,000 additional, which was Chadman Ridge Road and additional ditching, one for 60, so there's $120,000 for upgrade of roads. So you had $359,150 plus the $120,000. The contract for the snow plowing and sanding and the sidewalks is $256,100. All the miscellaneous stuff, which includes the contract deputy, the cable franchise stuff, land trust, Taylor House, Memorial Day Recycling Committee, all of that above. All the agencies that we would raise money for as well, and that was,
It's not totaled.
yeah, that's
There's
not
an
total
individual
separately,
total
but
for each.
the bottom line number is $3,465,650 of expenditures. So with that makeup of expenditures and that makeup of revenues, the budget balances revenues and expenditures, and that does not include county tax, and it does not include, well, actually, SAT 57. And there's, I think we've all heard of what their talk is, of that they're looking at a 3.5% or somewhere in that neighborhood. So, we talked at the workshop about if we add something, you got to add the revenue. And I'm not sure whether you want to move forward with those recommendations now or run this to the Finance Committee and then go from there.
I'd like to make the recommendations now.
Okay?
And I'm going to recommend that we take 35,295 out of surplus and add it back into the roads additional ditching project. The reason that I feel strongly about this project is that we've neglected our roads for a number of years. Our biggest problem that we have with roads is definitely a water issue. And the only way we're going to stop some of these water issues is to ditch the roads properly. Yes, there is 60,000 in there, and there's also 20,000 in Fred's budget. But as the Road Review Committee went out, did the RSMS project this year and looked at what we needed, this is what they came up with a total, bringing it out for the next 2 years. In the long run, if we don't get the water away from our roads, we're not going to be looking at just resurfacing roads. We're going to be looking at reconstructing roads, which is going to be 4 to 5 times greater than what it's going to cost us to resurface. I understand that financially this year, we're in a very tough spot. We don't know what next year is going to bring. If the excise tax law passes, we might be looking at a tighter budget next year than what we were looking at this year. And I feel that we're going to either pay now or we're going to pay a lot more later. And I think that paying now is more prudent, and it saves the taxpayers in the long run from having to reconstruct roads.
That's a motion?
That's
Second?
Was there any discussion in around that?
Yeah, well, I would,
Go ahead, John.
I would say that Tammy made a great point, and it was made also by the Road Review Committee, who did a great job in getting all this information. What I see is $80,000 in ditching, which is a lot more than we've done in the past. And we're at $80,000 if we've reduced the $30,000 out of the original 90 that was requested by the Road Review, and as it stands right now at 60. We put that $30,000 back in, and it goes into surplus. It takes out of surplus, which we now are zero at. So what, in a sense, we're doing is deficit spending. Now, there's a possibility that as the year goes on, we may actually find some surplus money. And if we do, I would suggest that we'd go back to a special town meeting and put that into increased ditching, because it is a good it is a good investment to get the work done now in the next couple of years. However, we're doing it with deficit spending. I don't like that. So I really think that there's a possibility we could do this if we have some extra money that is unaccounted for that shows up in the next 5 or 6 months. The other problem is that that you mentioned, Tammy, that if we do lose excise tax then we're gonna be sorry that we put any money into ditching, because then we're gonna have to take out all that money, that about $200,000 out in the last half of this year, and we will have already spent this on ditching. So I think that the prudent thing to do now is this summer, to spend the $60,000 on ditching, and the extra $20,000 that Fred has, do it this summer, hold back on the other $30,000, and if we can find the money, then have it put in special town meeting and have it done in the spring.
When the road review committee looked at coming up with that $95,000, they recognized that Fred was going to be putting $20,000 into his budget. But Fred needs that for some of the maintenance of some of the ditching that we already had. We had a heavy winter, the sand, Fred, correct me if I'm wrong here, all of that's going to have to be removed. So the $20,000 that Fred put in was just kind of, the upkeep of what is ditched.
Yep.
So the 95 was looking above and beyond at what Fred had put in his budget.
Yeah. And where I'm saying is, let's go above and beyond with $60,000, hold the $30,000 back, and see what happens over the next 6 months. And then, if we are fortunate enough to have a surplus, we can do it in the spring. If we're not fortunate enough to have a surplus, then we're going to be borrowing that $30,000 plus more money from the bank in order to make payroll, in order to pay the school next spring. So rather than borrowing it from the bank and doing into deficit spending, I'd say the $60,000 is a good start. And you spread it over 3 years rather than trying to do it all in 2 years.
This vote tonight isn't really binding anyway. We will be sending it to the Finance Committee. I'd like to send it to the Finance Committee with the $30,000 in there at this point. And we do have, I've seconded your long motion.
All right. Anything else? Here's my view, all right? It would be nice to give $30,000 back to Matt. It'd be nice to give $30,000 back to all of those other areas where we took $400 and some odd thousand out to get to where we are. I think there's a couple of things coming with regard to roads. We're waiting on reimbursement from FEMA, all right? I think we may or may not know that going into town meeting, but certainly we'll know that soon after the new year starts. That money comes back purely as surplus road money, all right? Goes back into the general fund. But to John's point, I don't think there's any reason that we can't then say it's prudent, we've got the reimbursement, because we spent that money this year, which we didn't plan on during the ice storm, right? And so that money's out of this year's budget, was spent, done. So I think that there are a whole host of opportunities where we could bring some money out of surplus and stick it back into some accounts, but I'm not sure that when you weigh that out, that this is the opportunity to do that. So my put is that we don't present that extra money to the Finance Committee. Certainly that's on the table for them to discuss, okay? Because they might come back and say, you guys are crazy. We think that, we ought to put some things on LD1 override and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure that the Finance Committee will do that, but they certainly have the wherewithal to make those recommendations. So that's where I'm coming from. Fred,
How much did you strip?
this is not a debate, but I'll let you.
How much did you strip out of the pavement? How much money did you take away from pavement?
A fair amount. And again, that was, I'll tell you pretty quickly.
Requested was 110, and we've reduced it down to 65.
Not 65.
No, but then again, we had money this year, and we spent $25,000, $30,000 more than what we'd anticipated.
The thing
okay?
with it is, you want to remember, if you're going to cut back on that pavement, you better keep up on the ditching.
Yeah, well, I think
Exactly.
it's all a bit...
In
Right.
2 years, and I go Cindy said here a week or two ago, about getting a bond, because that's the only way you're gonna keep these roads up and keep them paved.
And I-
You'll never do it through raising money right
And
here.
I think that we're going to have to cross that bridge, okay?
Oh, we will.
With how do we, especially certainly if we continue to where we're going today, certainly if the economy doesn't turn around next year, not sure that any of us are going to be sitting here saying, gee, let's cut another 400,000 out, okay? Out of it, just to put it in perspective, it's a $10 million budget. When you throw the schools, the county tax, and everything into it, it's $10 million. Pretty simple math. Take 470,000 out, that's almost 5% of our spend, and it's all coming out of the municipal services side. None of it's coming out of the side of education or county tax, all right? All coming out of municipal services.
What you're actually doing is, another way of looking at it, out of municipal services, we're taking 18% out of last year.
Right.
To run it this year. And you know when you do that, it's not all fat.
So there are some, I think there are some opportunities for us to look at, you know, some pockets, you know, I think certainly Matt has some, Fred has some, you know, they exist all over what we've done. I think we need to go bare bones in, have the discussions with the finance committee. We're going to be here discussing it again, and we'll go from there. But there's a motion on the floor. Pardon?
When you meet with the finance committee?
Well, they're going to get this tomorrow,
Yeah?
all right? And then it's a matter of, you know, and I think they will want to meet quickly with some of the department heads, certainly the larger department heads, and go through that. And then I think, you know, we only have probably 2-3 weeks to pull everything together here, so it's going to go quick now. But, anyway, any other discussion? Not, we're,
Good question.
yes, sir?
Is the money in there for the contract deputy, or you said
Yes,
something?
here's what's in the contract deputy. We have struck an agreement with the sheriff, because we're shutting this, in essence, shutting the town down to a 4-day work week in all the departments. That's what's in this budget, except for the fire department, which is 24/7 based on the per diem. But Matt's doing some unique things, scheduling people. The sheriff agreed that we would go to funding all of the expenses in the car and everything that we've done anyway for 32 hours, and he would pick up the extra day so that we still have Sean here 40 hours a week. So, and we thought that was certainly a fair put by the sheriff. And if at this time last year, we had the contract deputy up over as an LD1 override, so we had that vote on it special at town meeting. This year, we have kept that within the tax base, all right? So we're not teeing that up, unless something dramatic happens in the next 2-3 weeks. We're not teeing that up as a separate line item at the town meeting. It'll be voted up and down, okay? But that's the financial arrangement that we're going in with. So we'd stay at 40. Town would fund 32 plus expenses out of that, and the sheriff would pick up the 1 day of wages in the associated cost of that.
The sheriff is contributing about $9,500 a year to the program.
So I think last year we were 77, and this
Yep.
year it's
68.
68, so, okay?
Just want to say, you know, as we've gone through this process and we've cut back the hours of the week, and we're looking at cutting back some services to citizens, but when it comes back down to cutting back on safety issues, that was one that woke me up at night. And as I went out and talked to people in town, some people in town, and I asked them about these issues, it really comes down to is at one point we had cut back on the fire and rescue to the point where there was not going to be a EMT available between 10 o'clock at night and 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 and 8. That's pretty scary when you have someone that's having a stroke, heart attack at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they have to wait for an ambulance to come from Sanford, and it may be an hour. So that personally, and I think we talked about this here, and I think everybody felt that you just can't go that way. That's personal safety, and it's, but there's a whole bunch of other things that are equally, I mean, almost equally as compelling, and that is the road issue. Two is money not spent now is money lost in the future. Very compelling issues, but when we come down to it, we only have so much money, so we really can't go over what we have.
Well, as I said, this is non-binding, it's going to the Finance Committee. I'd rather it go to the Finance Committee with it in, and at some point, we can look at it again.
So here we are. Does your motion include everything else plus that? So
Yes.
we can do this one time?
Yes.
Or do you want to separate them out?
No.
That's fine, we'll just go with it that way.
Okay? Because,
What?
I mean, ultimately, she didn't make the motion that way, but...
Oh,
What did you do as far as the transfer station? You still leaving them the same days of the week in a minute?
No, there's some cutback there as well,
What do you mean?
in staff, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still gonna be open?
Yes.
This Wednesday and everything?
Right.
Okay.
But during certain parts of the year, he has some opportunity to look at staff.
Well, I understood, I heard that you're gonna close Wednesday now.
Well, I mean, if you can do that, you're going to get the same amount of trash, only you're going to now get it in 3 days instead of 1 to 2 days. So,
So
anyways,
a voting point here.
yes,
If indeed you have a motion on the floor and it goes 2 and 2,
Yeah.
and it fails, then you have another motion on the floor to leave it out, and it goes 2 and 2, and it fails. We sit here eyeball to eyeball, not,
my personal feeling is that it goes to the Finance Committee the way it is.
because you have the two women that are telling you this,
That-
right?
No,
Well,
I
and when we
think,
had our workshop Thursday night, I
Yep.
wanted to add it in Thursday
right.
night, and I was told the time to do it would be this
yeah,
evening.
and I think
Yes.
this is the time to do it.
And
Do
Tammy and
you
I,
disagree with that?
No.
but
We didn't
you're-
vote, we didn't vote at
Right, but
the
you're saying we
workshop.
should send it like this, and I'm saying, I disagree.
we need,
We need to-
that's
yeah.
right.
so where's Evan?
Bob, I'm not calling, I mean, this isn't a debate, so if you got something to add, fine, but if you want to talk about, go ahead.
I want to say my piece.
Yep,
You're saying that you're going to get rid of personnel at the dump. And I've always said for the last 15 years, you should add one at the dump, not get rid of one.
well, nothing is in stone yet, and we're working with the budget, so that's where we
Sure.
are, okay? So,
So we
let's at
are,
least, well, I'm going to call for this vote, all right?
oh,
So-
wait, well, reiterate, what exactly are we voting on at
My
this point?
motion was to include the road
Right.
money. Why don't we leave my motion at that and then go back to the
Okay,
rest
so
of
we're
it?
going to vote just on the road,
Road.
additional road money, right? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion dies for lack of a majority, okay? I would entertain a motion for the whole package.
I will move to the package as it stands.
You want to second that?
No?
No?
Okay, so it dies there. I think we pass on what we've got to the Finance Committee, we come back to the table. I don't think, is there any other way to do it? You want to make another motion? His motion dies, nobody seconded it. Somebody
Right.
want to make another motion?
Make a motion that we send this to the Finance Committee with adding $30,000 for the roads.
Does anybody want to second that?
No, that does the same thing, so we're going to be 2 and 2. I will, here's how we can solve this. I make a motion that we forward the budget excluding the roads as is. Table the road budget to next week when we hopefully have 5 selectmen.
Or an odd amount?
Or an odd amount.
Somebody want to
So
second
in
that?
other words, you're saying you're going to send the whole budget minus the roads
Yes.
to the Finance Committee?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
table the roads part
That's it.
until
And
next
then
week.
she wants to bring the road issue back to next week's budget, or next week's agenda, which I'm
Yeah,
fine with.
I have no problem.
But you should be fine with
Good
that. We know how
compromise,
it's going to
Tammy.
vote.
So,
It's all about
do
the
you,
conflict.
do you want to second that?
I will second
All
that.
right, the motion is to move this forward, we'll bring back the road issue next week. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
You know, however-
Well, this debate will go on, you know that.
Who's out on
So,
that one?
all right, well, the Finance Committee could offer up some compelling reasons, right? To do something different. Old business, discuss, vote, engine 2.
Yes.
You're on, Matt.
Don't run over Judy.
Okay. I provided you all with the electronic documentation again on engine 2. The truck still sits in its present condition today. We have done nothing additional to it. The body corrosion continues. We need a direction from the Board of Selectmen of where do we go with engine 2.
My question is, if you get rid of this piece of equipment, do you see a need at this point or in the near future to have to replace it? Or once we get rid of it, are we able to say we're done with that piece?
At this point, and today, our CIP that was submitted for the next 5 years does not include engine 2. And unforeseen some major developments, I don't see it being an issue.
Boy, and there's a reason for impact fees.
No kidding, huh?
All right, so you're requesting that we grant you permission to go sell it.
Correct.
I will move that we grant that permission.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor? All right,
So we're coming back next week.
second issue. Thought it was coming back next week. Discuss, vote on airboat.
That was mine.
Yeah, what are we going to,
The airboat, and Matt, I'm sure you'll jump in if I'm incorrect anywheres here, is currently sitting up at the old central station.
Right.
We had a memorandum of understanding with county that they were going to be taking it over. A year later, it's back in our custody. It requires specialized training to operate, and that training needs to happen on a fairly regular basis. At this point, it's not insured. And I question if perhaps we might be suited best with a different piece that may be more user-friendly and would be better for the fire department's needs. Because this was a grant, there certainly has been some concern that if we outright got rid of the boat, we wouldn't be eligible for grants in the future. And that's not necessarily the way that it would work, but certainly rather than outright selling it, we may be best off looking at if we could perhaps trade it with another agency or whatnot. And for a while, we were in discussions with the warden service about potentially doing something along those lines. I think then the state funding became an issue, but I understand that that may be something that can get teed up again. So I would like to see Matt move forward with looking and seeing if we could find something would better serve our community, if we could do some kind of an exchange like that.
Certainly is a sign of government misspending, isn't it, when you talk about, I mean, we got this airboat without a swamp, you know? So,
If I can add in there real quick, and that's some of the discussions we've had. I don't know as if there's many uses for that type of equipment. Not to say that, we didn't have uses in this community, but we don't have the resources to run it right now.
Yeah.
We haven't had. The cost to operate it was, mostly for the insurance side of things, was expensive for us. And just to reiterate that what you mentioned was that the county did take it over, and because of the cost to include that into their budget and to keep it in there, they omitted that from this year's budget. So it sits over at the old center station occupying one full bay, and it's sat there for quite some time. As of today, it's obviously there, and it has not been used since, I believe, the flooding we had a couple years back.
Patriots Day?
Yeah, I believe it was Patriots Day storm on the other side of 117. So we've had a couple options. I've had long discussions with William DeLong. He's the Director of Homeland Security Division for the state of Maine, overseeing some of the grant money. He's been in contact with the folks in D.C. of how this will affect us, and I do have an email letter that I sent out to Nancy yesterday or today when I got the letter back. We do have an option, I guess, right now, as a state agency, Maine Warden Service is certainly interested in it. And I would like to have discussions with them to see what we can gain out of benefit for the costs of what we've put into the boat for the past several years, in addition to the, obviously, the grant money. Because obviously that wasn't ours initially, it was federally funded, so.
So I think you're just looking for some consensus on the board that would say, you know, we want to look to
Negotiate a deal.
work with other agencies, and
If you can get a deal for it, get something in return, great. If not, then we have no, you know, we can't use it anyway. So, you know, if someone has another, even if we don't get anything in return, that has a real need for it.
The discussions we've had with Bob Bowman and Bill DeLong is that we would love to see it kept in the state of Maine, rather than
Yep.
being sent someplace else.
well, I think if certainly, I guess, we can take a vote, but I think there's no reason to believe that you don't have our endorsement to go do it, if you can make a deal. If we can't make a deal, I think we cross that road, cross that bridge when we get there. But I think in the meantime, you know, there's got to be other agencies out there that may very well be interested, that might have something in return, I don't know.
I think as we're looking at trimming our expenditures too, you know, if that's an expense to us that we're not necessarily utilizing.
I agree.
Then I think the right course is to maybe find something else that
I believe the dollar amount for the insurance alone was in the tune of about $2,800 for the insurance. So it was pretty expensive.
Yeah. I mean, the warden service or something should have a
Yes,
need for it somewhere in the state.
What's this cost, what's this boat cost to run per hour, say, or half hour? Is there any, if you come up with a number, what it costs you to run it during training or?
Like rides or something?
Well, we were running at 2 to 4 hours per month for training time, but I never calculated out for cost for the fuel for it, you know, with the large motor that it has, but it was a staffing issue for capable, qualified, trained staff to run that. And we didn't have a prime mover for it, which was never put into the grant. I think the grant was in the tune of $45,000, which the trailer, the equipment, we've got equipment on it still. So, anyhow.
What? Do you need anything, would you feel more comfortable if we take a vote?
Well,
on that,
I
or-
think if you're okay with it, obviously, it's, you know, we'll proceed forward.
What do you want to do? I'm fine with, he's off doing what he got to do.
Yeah, just look into
Okay.
it.
I think when you come up with a solution, then we tee it up, right? All right. Solid waste ordinance, we've moved pretty much in that direction. The big discussion will be coming, and I think we had some discussion the other night relative to commercial haulers, okay? You know, we get the whole spectrum. We get the pickup truck to the compactors, so that'll be dealing, and we'll have to deal with that as a board on relative to what that fee's going to be. But I think we've at least got one document, some debate of whether or not it's the necessary words float into our document or kind of a recreation of our document. So we really need to get to Clint with that, so. And there's another meeting Monday night, which is the normal monthly meeting. So hopefully next Tuesday night we'll have some discussion. Vote to sign warrants and bills for payroll.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Vote to sign minutes of 4:21.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Agenda items, workshop, we'll tee up the workshop for partial payments,
Yes.
okay? Road dollars for the budget, we'll bring that back under old business for budget discussion.
Do we have a public hearing next week?
Let's see, down below here, Tuesday, no, I'm not sure. We pushed out that ordinance, I think we had talked about having the ordinance public hearing on the 5th, but we just don't have enough time for that.
The letter that goes to,
Letter, right,
or
to Criminal Justice Committee or whatever it is. What else? So the solid waste ordinance will be back. Anything else comes off the top of anybody's mind here? If not, I'm going to...
Did we, and I didn't, I'm not sure I heard you, do we need to set a workshop for?
Yeah. We'll put that on next
Partial
week.
Get in there at, okay.
Yep. Anything else? All right, items needing signatures, warrants and bills of payroll, minutes of 421, appointment papers, payment arrangement forms, Shannon zoning. We have one coming back next week too, right? One,
Yep. I don't see minutes here.
they're in, they were in the yellow one. This is the liquor license. Reminders, Finance Committee tomorrow night, 6:30. Thursday, April 30th, 4:30, Economic Development Committee. You said it's what, 4:30 to 6?
4:30 to 6. Tom kept us right on time this week, too.
Transfer Station Committee Monday night at the Town Hall. Water District Trustees over at the Town Hall Monday night, 6 PM both. Selectmen's meeting, 6 PM here, Tuesday night. Finance Committee next week at 6 PM. 7:30 Planning Board here in the Town Hall Annex on the 6th. Old Home Days Committee at the Town Hall, 7 PM on Thursday, May 7th. Historical Society at the Town Hall, 7 PM Thursday night. Thursday, May 7th, 5:30 PM, Selectmen's Budget. Do we need to do that?
Selectmen's
Thursday,
budget.
the 7th?
Oh, no,
No, we're done.
we're
No.
done.
All right, so that's off. Saturday, May 9th, Cribbage Tournament, 8:30 AM, and Little Ospey Lake Association meeting, Town Hall, on May 9th.
There's one other piece that as far as agenda. Did we, is the CEO and the planner, we're going to write up a series of, a checklist
Yep.
for people that wanted to come in and either start a business, or there's some checklist that they could get and hand it out to them when they first come in here with a timeline on it. I know they were going to do that. Have they done that?
Tom gave us a checklist.
Right, I
that-
think at the council meeting,
Yep.
right, he gave us a checklist that they had developed. And I think that was part and parcel of that whole operating manual, right?
Yeah.
So,
Because I was
I don't know if that answers the
questioned
mail,
today
but-
by a person who is opening a business in town.
Yep.
And said, they're feeling a little frustrated that said everything was okay, and then, this is what the person told me, so I don't know exactly how it came out. But the concern was that the obstacles came up later on when he felt that he could have been working on them 2 months ago. And so if that checklist was all set out in paper, that this is what you do, this is what needs to be done at what time, then there shouldn't be any complaints about it.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if that checklist is done, and if we need to revisit it.
I guess we'd have to ask that of Tom. You want to ask that question next week?
Yeah.
Because we can certainly have him
Yeah.
in here at 6.
Yeah, because I think that's really important for,
So we can bring both
and it's
Patty and
not that
Patty.
anybody's trying to stonewall anybody, it's just that the procedures haven't been written down, and they need to get those procedures.
So we bring
written.
Tom and Patty at 6. They're both here anyway.
Okay, great.
We appointed the EMA director tonight,
Yep.
and I think the selectmen need to appoint the deputy EMA director, which we haven't done in the past. It's just been kind of, and we had said that when Pam was back in town,
Yep.
we were going to sit down and we were going to have some discussions. I believe she's back, so maybe we need to sit down before she
That's fine.
needs to, she's getting some, that's a busy lady.
You want to bring her in next week?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Under your reminders, also, we're doing the Firelight Brush Chipping Day, May 9th.
Okay.
So the applications need to be filled out and submitted to us before that day. They are available on the website, and we have them at the fire station as well. So they should be filled out no later than May 8th.
And the fire dangers are? the fire dangers are today? I think we just need yellow. So no permits.
We have actually limited burn permits extensively over the last couple of weeks. Given the conditions, and we may continue to do that, and if we do issue, it'll be after 5 PM at night, if we issue it all.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you.